Hi, my name is Rebecca, and I'm here today to talk to you about autism and neurodiversity. Autism is a complex disorder of brain development that is characterized by difficulties in social interaction, communication, and repetitive behaviors. Autism is a type of developmental disability, and it is very common. 1 in 68 children have autism. There are other types of developmental disabilities, like Down syndrome and cerebral palsy. Autism is another type of developmental disability, but unlike Down syndrome and cerebral palsy, people with autism do not usually look physically different. Because of that, autism can be considered an invisible disability. To understand what autism is, we need to take a peek into how a person with autism's brain works. One key difference is how their brain handles sensory processing. Sensory processing disorder is a condition in which the brain has trouble receiving information from the senses. Sensory processing disorder may affect one sense, like hearing, touch, or taste, or it may affect multiple senses, and people can be over or under responsive to the things they have difficulties with. For example, some people with sensory processing disorder are oversensitive to things in their environment. Common sounds may be painful or overwhelming. Are there any sounds that you find annoying or offensive? How does that make you feel? Do you start to feel anxious? What about how you feel when you're excited? Do you have a hard time sitting still? Does your heart rate go up a little bit? Can you see how feeling excited can also feel a little bit like feeling anxious? So basically, someone with sensory processing disorder is reacting to stimuli in a way that other people will not react. So what is stimuli? Stimuli is a thing or event that evokes a specific functional reaction. So if you step on a thumbtack, it's going to hurt. If you smell something really bad, you're going to say, "Pew, that's gross." For a person with sensory processing issues, normal, everyday stimuli can elicit strong emotional responses that can feel overwhelming and lead to outbursts, or they can lead to something called stimming. So, what is stimming? Stimming is a repetitive movement or sound that some people with autism make, and it's something they do to help them cope with their overwhelming feelings. When you're feeling really nervous, what do you do? Do you pace or play with your hair? And what about when you're bored? Do you fidget in your chair or maybe you doodle on a piece of paper? Those things are stimming too. But for a person with autism, their stimming can look a little different, and it can be something like hand flapping or making noises that you might think are weird. So that's sensory processing in a nutshell. Do you think that sensory processing might have an impact on how a person with autism processes information? Imagine if the sound of the fluorescent lights really bothered you, and if your teacher is talking, how difficult would it be to understand what's being said? So, sensory processing issues, overreacting to everyday stimuli, can definitely have an impact on how you process information. And now, do you think how you process information can have an impact on how you communicate? In addition to sensory processing issues, some people with autism process information at a slower rate. So imagine if everyone was talking really, really fast. Would you have a hard time keeping up? When a person has processing difficulties, it can lead to communication difficulties. And communication difficulties can include when it's really hard to understand the people around you or when it's hard to express yourself. Have you ever been tongue-tied? Maybe you're around a girl you really like and you feel nervous and you have a hard time remembering how to talk. Or maybe being in front of a big group of people makes you really nervous. It can be the same way for people with autism. This can make communication pretty hard. So, if you're having a hard time with sensory processing and processing information, and that impacts how well you communicate, how do you think that's going to impact your ability to make friends? For people with autism, social skills can be very difficult. People with autism might appear to be really shy and have a hard time making eye contact. People with autism might appear to be afraid or hesitant to try new things. People with autism might not understand when you're telling a joke. So, does this mean that a person with autism can't have fun, make jokes, or have friends? No. People with autism have senses of humor and they like to have fun just as much as anyone else. But in some cases, with people with autism, they need to feel comfortable around a person first before they can get to know them. People with autism face some challenges. And because autism is an invisible disability, it might not be obvious who has autism and who doesn't. We talked about the challenges people with autism face, but did you know that people with autism also have many unique gifts? Many people with autism have a great capacity to remember things. Some of them have photographic memories. Some people with autism are inventive and come up with creative solutions to problems. Some people with autism are able to do work that requires an extreme attention to detail. Some people with autism are artistic and creative. Some people with autism are considered geniuses. Those are some of the ways that people with autism might seem a little bit different. But what about our similarities? People with autism are human beings. They like to have fun. They go to the movies and listen to music. They want to have friends who share their same interests. People with autism can go to college, have a good job, get married, and have children. People with autism can do anything a person without autism can do. Because their brain is a little bit different, they just might need extra help. They might need to learn a little differently. And in fact, all people with disabilities can do a lot of things with the help of special accommodations. Neurodiversity is an approach to learning and disability that suggests that diverse neurological conditions appear as a result of normal variations in the human genome. Basically, this means that disabilities are a natural part of the human experience. Instead of thinking about fixing or curing someone of their disability, we should think about how we can make the world a little more friendly and welcoming to all people with disabilities. So, how can you be a friend to someone with autism? You can be patient, be kind, show them how to do things, repeat things slowly, talk to them about their interests, ask questions, invite them to hang out with you, and just be understanding why they might seem a little bit shy or why they might get upset about loud noises or why they're stimming.